What is going on, everyone? It's your guy, Cole Jackson, back here on Road Graders, brought to you again on the Russell Street Report as we continue to work our way through the Baltimore Ravens draft class. Today, we are brought to you by DNL Tinting. Go to dltinting.com to check out all of the awesome services they can bring to you. dltinting.com. Today, we're going to be talking about the Ravens' third-round pick, ending out the Friday night draft slot. Edge rusher, another edge rusher out of Penn State, Adisa Isaac. Really interesting guy. Really excited to dive into this film, go through all the good stuff. Obviously, a lot of support the last two videos I did on our first and second round picks. Really appreciate all of you. Go ahead, let's keep that support going. Hit that like button, hit subscribe if you're new here, and drop a comment down below. I want to hear what you guys think about this pick. I think this was, obviously Devin Leary, we'll get into that when we get there. But this was probably one of the more controversial picks where there was a lot of split fan opinion. So I'm really interested what folks think about the actual film once we, put aside some of the other possibilities and the other routes they could have gone with this pick. So I'm excited to hear what you guys think about it. So start off doing what we always do, taking a look at a little bit of the statistical profile. Played 905 snaps over the last 2 years. One thing that I did want to highlight, lower on the pass rush snap count, and that is, I tweeted the other day when I was watching him putting his clips together that watching pass rushers in the Big Ten is just boring. And what I mean by that is there's so much more physical running football with play action that it's hard to find true pass sets. And so, I got to give a shout out to Spencer Schultz at Ravens for Dummy. He was looking through some of the true pass set data that comes with SIS, and you can see it. Not a whole lot of true pass sets for Isaac, for not just Isaac, but Big Ten pass rushers. So you can kind of see that there. You look at his statistical output. 9 sacks, tied for 23rd in the NCAA, almost hitting that double-digit mark. 4 QB hits, 20 hurries, putting together 33 pressures on that 208 snaps. So when you look at how this compares, this is where I think people are going to have a little bit of concern with this pick. So obviously, on the bottom axis, you got overall pass rush win rate. On the higher axis, you got true pass rush win rate, and Isaac's down here in the bottom left, which is not where we want to be. We want to, obviously, the more we work up this diagonal, the more you're winning regularly. You see his teammate Chop Robinson up there, Jared Verse, Latu, the first edge rusher that went. You see the Bosa brothers there as kind of comparables. I believe this is college production 2014 to 2023. So you can just kind of see where he landed relative to his peers. The only thing I'll say is, you have to be careful with this because sample size does matter. So true pass set, and it is a win rate, so it does control for that, but just the less you're doing something, the more you're facing the run, you're not, refining those skills as much. So I think that's going to be important, something we take a look at. Obviously, the intriguing thing here with Isaac as a pick, just has that really high level athleticism. One thing that really stood out to me was within his how he performed relative to his peers, his 10-yard split was so much higher than his 20 and 40-yard dash. And that really shows his explosiveness. You can see his broad and vertical, obviously very high level scores there. And then you get really good length for a guy his size, 6'4", 247 with almost 34-inch arms. So that's really, I think, what they're looking at in this pick. He really is a toolsy player. He's got that explosive burst ability, good size, good length, and just kind of that ability to develop. So we're going to start here, excuse me, looking at some of his pass rushes. We're going to look at the good, we're going to look at the bad, and we're going to take a look at what we're getting. And I think I'm a little lower on this pick relative to other picks by the Ravens, but I don't want that to be mistaken for this was a bad pick, because I'm not really willing to say that. I think there's some things that he does at a really high level. I think there's some things he's going to need to improve, just like with all these draft picks. So let's get into it here. He's on the left side of your screen going against the left tackle. And this was kind of one of his go-to moves, this ability, and this is really what I think the Ravens are hoping to cultivate with him as a player. So as he approaches the set point, so you see tackle's going to take that inside hand here. He's going to create a bit of a short corner, recognizes it, and then he's going to work under this outside arm with his inside arm and rip under. And so right there, you can see that arm come down, rip up, and that creates the short corner to the quarterback. And you just want to see, yeah, I think the field was wet this day because there was quite a few guys, not just Isaac, that were slipping. But, you see him plant. Is it muscle flexion in his ankles? Is it, what part of it is it? I think he bends quite well, and I think you can really see that ability to bend and get low. So as he rips, he's able to stick, and right there, that's pretty good flexibility. Obviously, we want to see him get more around the corner, but that's that type of hand usage where it's pairing well with his bend and his athleticism that's going to serve him well. Now he's on the left side of your screen against the right tackle. And this is how he kind of pairs that move with, this actually is Marvin Harrison touchdown. Man, he was ridiculous in this game. So he's going to go again. He's going to use that inside hand. I like seeing a combination of pass rush moves. He's not just kind of a one-trick pony. So he's going to use that inside hand to swipe away. And by doing that, he forces the tackle to have to go into recovery mode. So as he pushes, where is it? Right there. So as he pushes that inside hand away, throws off his punch, you can see his hands are back here. Now he's going to flip his hips and turn. So as he does that, Isaac's smart enough to spin back inside and have a secondary pass rush move. So doesn't end up getting there. Ball comes out on a drag route. So, but you could see how he was getting there with the pressure. So just, seeing kind of a couple moves work together, I think that's always really good to see. Not just a one-trick pony coming out, having a bit of a pass rush plan, stuff we want to see. And again, you could see the bend, you could see the explosive burst ability. So here he's against Maryland. I believe he's, right side of your screen. And this is where I think he's going to have some success as a pro. So he's going to get guys out in space like he does right here. And there's that rip move again. So he's actually going to throw a double hand swipe. See right there, short corner, recognizes it, rip under, and there's that bend. So ball comes out, but that, this would probably be called a pressure because he's actually reading to the right side of the field. He's waiting for something to develop. He's going to see the pressure come, and then he's going to throw to his check down over here. So right there, see how he's got to do that? And then it goes, I think he gets the yards back. But that's kind of that type of pressure he can bring. So here he's going to get the left tackle this time out in space, and this is just an inside move. Really nice work here. So he's going to see the 45-degree set, and what I like that he does here is he works more upfield. So he's in a wide alignment against a naked side, so he's got no tight end here. So he's going to work upfield, force the tackle to come out to him. As soon as he recognizes it's a 45, he sees that potential for that inside move and just uses athleticism. So that's stuff I like to see. Going to get this one, similar rep. He's going to work that inside move again. Go in and get in there for the sack. So this is one of his sacks against Maryland. Same thing. He's working upfield. I really like how he does this. So he works upfield rather than, trying to bend too close, because it's going to force those kick steps to get more outside and create some of these soft inside edges. Because that's where he can take advantage of some of these tackles, is getting them out in space and then, using his athleticism. And he doesn't even really use, there's no up and under here. He's going to use that low right here. He gets that inside hand nice and low up into the armpit, but it's not really an up and over. It's not really an under rip. He's just going to switch directions and run inside. And that's just pure athleticism. So, we want to see him pair that with a little bit better hand usage with his outside hand, but I really like that inside hand placement and, working upfield to get the tackle out in space and then take advantage of that, get in there, get a sack. Get another sack here, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So this is a part of the game. We're going to look at some bad hand placement, but this is where I think I want to see him develop a lot more. So he's going to stick that jab arm. He's going to start in a two-hand, and he's going to extend that right hand. Now, that hand right here is still a little higher than I would like. I'd like to see that little bit more inside towards that armpit, because when you create the length, you can push up there, have a natural leverage point while still keeping your helmet low. When it ends up on the top of the shoulder pad, as it goes past the front of the pad, like as his hands literally rolling to the back. He's just, limiting the amount of distance he can create with the long arm. But what he does is he creates leverage there, creates that short corner, and then he just keeps working around and gets that hand around. So again, good bend here to get around the corner. And just, this was probably one of the best reps where you could really see his motor. He works harder than anybody on a football field. He is, every rep, even if he is, getting blocked, he's constantly driving his feet. That's a nice little hustle rush there. I think if he can use better hand placement on that long arm, I think it's going to be a really strong component of his game, especially with his length. And so this is where I really think he has a ton of potential. So his ability to convert speed to power. So when we do that, we obviously need explosive speed. We need to be able to hit our hands properly, and we need to be able to extend on our length. So he does that here. You can see him get in. His hands are inside. The only thing he doesn't do that I would like to see is just play with better extension out of his hands. So you can't do that too early, because then it just creates the possibility to break your arm, and not literally break your arm, but use an outside kind of counter move as the offensive lineman and break the long arm. But he just gets a little bit too inside. But again, look at the tenacity, his hustle, his ability to literally drive the left tackle right into the quarterback. So that's the type of advancement I think he's going to be able to have. But that ability to convert speed to power, we saw so much of it last year from Jadeveon Clowney. And even though he's seen as an athletic guy, not quite as physical, his ability to take that explosive speed with his length, with his development of upper body strength, I think that's where he can really develop as a player. And, the way he can pair that long arm game with his bend on the outside, that's where you can start to create a more complete pass rusher. So it's those two pieces that we just saw through those last few clips. That's what the Ravens are seeing as the potential. So if you guys are wondering, why should I be excited about this pick? It's those types of pieces put together. I think as he develops them, and I mean, you can see the traits. I just showed you guys, I think that's 6 plays now where he's winning in the pass rush game. So I think we get into, let me check here. Yeah, same deal here. So again, he's going to do essentially the same move, and he does get a bit of an extension there, but his pad level's too high. And so one thing he's going to need to work on is also getting away from the two-hand swipe, because if you get any sort of wider offensive lineman, he just plays outside hands here. And so if you don't create that initial torque like he did against 71 on the opposite side, he's just going to stunt you, right? Like he does there. And you can see he's just standing up at this point. So he needs to, one thing that would work really well in this case, rather than go in with two hands where again, his hands are inside, he's a little high in his pad level, but if he's able to use one hand, jack it up here, and create a soft shoulder, because if he's using that hand up in here, tackle's going to naturally adjust to that, and it's going to create opportunities out here, or he can use that, and if he plays you outside and is playing more of your hip, you can then up and over into the inside, go under, use your bend. So just using two hands on the strike just creates more limits for you in terms of what you can do, unless you create that initial torque that we saw in that earlier clip where he drove the tackle right back. So that's just something, again, it's going to come with more experience. And so you're going to see him. He did this a ton in the Maryland game. He's lined up over the center. They were just getting extra pass rushers. Maryland played a lot more spread than Ohio State and Michigan did in the games that we're going to be taking a look at. And this is just that, he ends up actually, can you see it at the end? Did I clip it? He draws a holding call on this because the center literally grabs onto him right there as he's getting through and causing the pressure. Outside edge caused the pressure too, but he's bringing pressure up the inside. But this is just that tenacity, that motor that's always running. But still, I think this is a really good point to highlight where he could play with better hand usage. So his hands get basically swallowed inside, and it's almost like what you'd want to see. So he's almost trying to bring that hand over, but he's not. He's just kind of doing a hustle rep there. So that's just, again, another area where I think he can just build on his skill set, is just better hand usage, creating leverage, and doing it with one hand instead of two at times. It's okay to use two at certain points in the game. You want to be able to mix up what you're doing. But just saw a lot of those kind of two-hand strikes. Now he's on the left side here. Now this was something that I noticed early. Is just sometimes he gets caught running around the arc. And so here you're going to see him work up field. Again, he's trying to hit that, he hits two-hand strike, and then he brings his inside hand to kind of rip under, gets ran around the arc. Excuse me. He's on the right side here. Why did I grab this clip? That clip's supposed to be later. That's just showing poor hand placement. Kind of the same deal. He's kind of getting chicken-armed here. I should have a bunch of clips of him getting ran around the arc. Yeah, right there. Okay. Same deal here. He's going to attack, and rather than play with any sort of hand usage, he just kind of comes in and leans and literally gets thrown at the club. So this is something that I saw a little bit, just sloppy hand usage, not playing with your hands with purpose. He's obviously trying to dip and rip here, but he plays a little bit too inside to be able to do that, because as soon as you dip, if you're not setting up anything with your hands, well, his first punch is going to be going to your right there. So he didn't give any sort of bait to change where the tackle's hands were going. So that means you have to rip through his entire outside leg in his kick step, and it's just not going to work. So he kind of gets pushed at the club there. You see it again. Just pushed outside the club. And again, we're trying to use like a bit of a double hand swipe, but we're not really using our hands with purpose. So that's something that I think he's going to be working with a lot with Chuck Smith. On the right side here. Again, just getting pushed around the arc. We're not really playing with purpose. Kind of trying to use a double hand swipe, but not really. The hands aren't very vicious or powerful. Pushed around the arc. Get into some of his run blocking snaps. So what we're going to see, he had, if I go to his stats, 16 tackles for a loss last year. 11 the year before. A lot of tackles for the loss. A lot of those came on option concepts, and this is where you really see his lateral agility. And what I would say overall with his run defense, if he just played, I don't want to say he doesn't need to process, that's a dumb comment, but if he just plays a little bit more carefree, and you'll see what I mean here. So he's going to work upfield, unblocked. Oh, don't tell me I just did that with my... There. Okay. So he's going to work upfield. He's the read man. So he starts outside. So JJ reads handoff. And that lateral agility to chase down and make the tackle is what makes him such a special athlete. And there's no overthinking here. He reads, sees the ball handed off, and he just goes. This is one of the fastest plays I've seen him have so far. He's just playing fast. See it again here. You're going to get another option concept. He's going to get an inside hit from the tackle, but he's going to keep working down. And look at that tackle in the backfield. So there's no thinking. He's got the this one's a little different because he's got the extra outside edge contain here. He's just kind of can play up. You can just see him there, just bear down and tackle. He's on the right side here. So he's going to read that inside. It's going to be kind of that counter bash play that we see the Ravens run. So you're going to get the option read here. So he's going to come through. You're going to get two pullers. Quarterback follows. Lamar hits this all the time. So he reads it well. And look at him work upfield to get that tackle for the loss on the quarterback. So again, good read, just plays. There's no thinking. He doesn't let the blockers come to him. He just works upfield, focuses on the quarterback. So the more that he can do that in run defense, the more he can play in space and not get into too many tight areas. I think he's going to have a lot more success in run D. Same thing here. That's his tackle for a loss. So he's going to, again, you see him come up and square because he is the read man. So he can't just completely ignore it. If he keeps it, so option that way, it's a zone read. So if he keeps it, if he cheats too much, he's going to run that way. So as he does it, he stays square to the line of scrimmage, and then he reads the handoff and gets out on the ball carrier. So just playing fast. You'll get into situations like these, and I mean, Michigan's in a power formation here, right? Like they have 7 offensive linemen, a fullback, running back. So, I mean, You could look at these reps. I'm going to show 2 of these and say it's not quite fair. But I mean, at the same time, he needs to be able to anchor against power. And this was one of the best opportunities I could get to show you guys that. So he's going to be on the inside here. And he's going to take on, you're going to get basically a power. So you're getting down blocks from this side. You get the puller there, kick out block there as he comes around. And that's Isaac ending up back there. So that's just against a down block. So, I mean, it is coming against an unbalanced line. It's not a tight end blocking him, but it is an offensive lineman dealing with him with power, putting him on his keister. You get it. This is just a couple plays later. Same thing. See him getting pushed into the end zone with the running back. So as he deals with power in the run game, I don't think that's his strength in run D. I think that's something he needs to do better of. And, you know, again, we're just seeing him play high. The lineman is much lower than he is. We need to see him be able to create a little bit of torque, create a little bit of tension, and push them up. I don't quite think that's his game, but when you read scouting reports, you're going to see a lot of comments about how he deals with power in the run game. So I wanted to show you guys what that kind of looks like. Now you're going to see him again. He's got a little bit of edge support here, so he's going to work inside the tight end. So he's actually lined up as basically a 6-eye. So as they snap the ball, tight end's going to pass him off to the tackle, who's just taking a scoop step to get out to him, and again turn him in and just puts him down. So again, dealing with power, that's something that he's going to have to do better, but still a lot of good things he does in the run game. And this is one of the things I want to see. So he is going to line up as a base D end. See him right there. He's going to work inside to the right guard. And what he does so well here is get inside. Use his quickness to his advantage. That's what's going to make him a good run defender. Rather than, trying to use those two-hand kind of bull rush skills and then try and deconstruct the tackle, he's basically going to play this as a one gap. So he's here. He's got the edge contain here. He knows he wants to get to the A gap over here. So he's just going to use that up and under. And again, it's kind of what I showed you guys earlier. He's just playing fast. He's not overthinking it. Look at that hand under. Almost draws a hold. He doesn't make the tackle because of where the runner went, but wins his rep very, very cleanly. So those are the types of things that I see where, there's definitely room for development here. This isn't just, I've seen a lot about him as a liability in the run game. I don't know how much he'll play early just with the power issue, but there's still tons of reason to see why he'll develop in the run game. And you do see a play like this. This was beautiful. See right there, that left arm extension, single arm, setting the edge, branches off of it. This is what I want to see more of in both the run and pass game. See how he gets that extension, uses his length. So he's got his hand out here. He's stood up his man. He now has set the edge, and he's going to force that inside. So as soon as the running back starts to read, he does that inside or that outside hand rip move that he likes so much. Long arm here, rip under, tackle on the ball carrier. That's what we want to see more of, folks. So just seeing it there, I think that's a great place to finish because there is a ton of potential here. I understand why the Ravens wanted to take him. That combination of length, athleticism, bend, all that good stuff, there's a ton of potential. So I think I've been more negative on the pick, but I definitely can see a path to success. But I want to hear from you guys. Drop a comment down below. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this breakdown. And, of course, subscribe if you're new here. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. Peace out, everyone.